Hello everybody, welcome back, Unversed podcast. Danny here, and today we are talking about the one-day event brought to you by Comic-Con Palm Springs called May-Hem. This was I would say a one-day experience into the life of this convention that will be coming out in August. And they were gracious enough to give us a media pass, so I went to check out May-Hem. And it was definitely a good experience. I didn't really know what to expect, really, from it, considering this is, like, essentially the first time a convention's doing something like this. Because this is, it could be treated as an independent one-day con, right? Much like how WonderCon's from the people that do San Diego Comic-Con, this could also be a one-day con brought to us by the Comic-Con Palm Springs people. So there's always that idea, but I think this is, it could be that, and it's a little more of just an experience to what a con is. It was nice, not that bad. If you bought your tickets for Comic-Con Palm Springs, that ticket also works for here. And it also works for the Palm Springs International Animation Festival that is happening during Comic-Con Palm Springs. So this is also another unique thing that they're doing, is that you buy one badge and you get to go to May-Hem, CCPS, and the film festival. So that's kind of crazy that they're doing something like this. And they, of course, had guests and an after party. So this does definitely feel like it's part of a normal weekend con experience, but it's only one day. And they had special guests. They had Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger, the man himself. They had Matt Ryan, aka Constantine, on the CW. They also had Steve Cardenas from Power Rangers. And they had a bunch of artists show up too, and cosplayers as well. So, pretty interesting stuff to say. I will say that, yeah, hopping into this, I was expecting one thing out of this, and that was, it's very small. I was within a casino in the nearby area for Comic-Con Palm Springs, and it's very small, not a lot to do, essentially. I mean, the one thing that did surprise me was the amount of VR that was here at May-Hem. The first thing you see when you walk in was this giant, little area where you have 4 people strapped up with guns in VR and they play this game and they could walk around and stuff in a certain area. And then you walk in, you see all the stuff going on. There's at least 2 or 3 more VR experiences when you enter the exhibit hall. Wasn't expecting that. There is the game room brought to you by by a local organization that do gamings for these cons out here. So they're also going to be at Palm Springs Comic Expo, and they'll also be at Comic-Con Palm Springs. And so we had that. We had a couple other rooms. We had one room with, let me pull up his name. He does, makeups and like props like that. I feel bad. What is his name? But yeah, so they had stuff like Predator there. They had like some Walking Dead stuff, for the cosmetics and whatnot. I mean, I'm trying to find it here. I think it was in their Instagram story. Yeah, I think it was in their, Instagram story, so I feel bad. Hold up, guys, hold up. But anywho, so they had that room. Another room they had was what they had last year at CCPS, which was, what was it called? It was like some kind of like Starfleet Academy thing that you sign up for. And they had, another room for the International Film Festival, like a preview of stuff what you might see there. So there was definitely a bunch of interesting stuff. But yeah, so there's also the exhibit hall, and I gotta say, it was pretty small. Now I don't know what their limit was for like the rooms they could use. And you know, it's great to see, like, they had, like, artists there, they had the VR stuff, and then they had, like, the merchandise you can buy. As far as going to a convention for the first time, like, if this is your first time going to a convention, it wasn't that bad of an experience, you know? I do believe, like, small cons like this are perfect for first-time con goers, so they could get a taste of the experience there. And one interesting thing was they had one panel. It was very early in the daytime, but it was held outside, which, you know, to me, like, again, I don't know what exactly their situation was with everything, but yeah, they didn't really have a room to hold it, I guess. But yeah, they had the panel. It had Robert Englund, they had Matt Ryan, and Samantha Newark. And, you know, just simple, they had Q&A at the end. I went there late, sadly, because we left late, but yeah, went to check it out, went to, like, the last part, got a little Q&A, listened to some fan questions. It was interesting. There's a lot of people there, surprisingly, and pretty good for a panel, you know. And, I mean, after that, there's pretty much nothing else until you hit up, like, the kids cosplay contest they had, and then they did the zombie walk thing that they usually do for Comic-Con Palm Springs. They had that going on, and yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the convention. There was, like, 2 rooms. One was for signing, one was for, like, taking photos and stuff. And also there was the after party. Unfortunately, I was not able to go to the after party, but I did see clips of Tom Kenny's band, which I have to say I enjoyed the music. You know, I wish I went to see how cool it would have been. There was also the adult costume contest that they had there, and that was further down the road at a different location. So the experience at the con was pretty cool. I originally planned to go as Logan from Origins for my cosplay. But I ended up just deciding last minute, like, I'll just throw on the X2 suit. So I wore that, walked around, was surprised about the, turnout of cosplayers there. There was actually more cosplayers than I imagined. Like, on the way inside, I was thinking, oh god, am I not gonna see any cosplayers here? You know, am I the only one? But no, there were definitely cosplayers there, so that's cool. Yeah, walked around, met up with some friends that were there, had good conversations. And yeah, it was pretty interesting, you know. Definitely, if they do this again next year, I wouldn't mind going again, as long as we get some improvements on a couple things, you know. I mean, just, you know, I mean, the VR stuff's cool, and yeah, you take a couple laps in the exhibit hall to check out, you know, what you could think about grabbing up, but other than that, there was really nothing else to do. You know, I mean, the biggest part of this one day thing was, the line for Robert Englund. I think I'm saying it wrong. It's, Robert Englund. That's just, I think that's how it's supposed to say. So yeah, so he had a bunch of stuff going on. He had 2 segments for signing. He had the guest panel. He had photo op, and then a third signing, time. So he was definitely the most popular thing there. I mean, you could tell by the amount of Freddy Krueger cosplays that were there. It was, the big selling point there. However, the selling point for me was the boy Matt Ryan. I think he does a great job as Constantine. Got to chat with him for a bit. That was pretty cool. Super cool guy. It was great to meet him. And yeah, I mean, just seeing everybody else's experience here was pretty nice to see, you know, because, clearly this type of event in this area specifically, a lot of people just don't go to conventions, I think. Or they would want to, but it's too far. They can't get the time off, this and that. But here, now it's in your local area. A lot of people like that are going to be there. Excuse me, are going to be there. So I think that was the big point for Mayhem, was not only for it to hype up Comic-Con Palm Springs, but to get more people to go into it. Now, the only other problem with the convention itself is, it was very advertised for sure on social media, but not out here where it was being held. I was talking to some people and they're like, yeah, I didn't really know this was happening until like a week and a half ago. And it's like, really? That's kind of crazy, because I remember this got announced like months ago. Very early in this year. They were like, yeah, Mayhem, come check it out when the tickets went up. So that's also a big, I guess downside of it, right, is that, this is definitely for new people, for local people, but they didn't really know that much about it, essentially. So there's that aspect to it as well. But overall, yeah, I had a good experience. It was definitely interesting to see, what they were going to do. I kept thinking like, yeah, what's really going to happen? I mean, the big area for me had to be the game room, which was nice. They had a bunch of consoles set up. They had like Smash Bros, Mario Kart, Street Fighter. They had, Dragon Ball Fighters. They had, Magic tournaments, Pokemon tournaments on the 3DS. And I think there was like one section with Call of Duty. They had 2 projectors up. It was mainly just Smash and Dragon Ball up there. Sometimes Mario Kart was where Smash was. And they sold some like trading card merch and stuff here and there. So it was a nice little area to check out. Hopped in on some fighters. I had to get the rust off after not playing that game for a while. So yeah, it was pretty cool. And I think for me once the panel happened and that was like the main thing I wanted to do. For me anyways, there really wasn't much. I felt like what was there else to do for me? Now for sure I analyzed everything, as part to do this episode for media. And yeah, just being there. And then, eventually I left to go eat, and I was like, man, would I want to go back? Because like, I could just wait for the after party is what I kept thinking. I'm like, I could just go to that while I relax or whatever, because trust me, that X2 suit in the desert is not a good combination. But luckily, the inside venue was very nice and cool and comfortable. So, I ended up going back out of cosplay just to see if the scene was any different or not. I mean, it was a little different here and there. There was definitely the line still for meeting all the guests there. And I think that's all I pretty much have to say about, Mayhem. Again, interesting concept for a con to do. Gets people excited for Comic-Con Palm Springs. And, again, like the fact that there was an after party and that the after party was free, I think is a big thing, because usually, events, after parties, what have you for conventions, they're not always free. Majority of the time you need a ticket. So I think that was a big plus for them, was like, well, it's a small one-day thing. Let's get people in here for not only the content that we're providing, but also the after party at the end. So I think that's a pretty cool thing, that what they did. And yeah, I mean, that's really all I have to say. I do appreciate the badges this year, because I have to admit, press last year, was pretty bad with the passes. It was literally just paper. It was just a piece of paper that said press. And that was disappointing. Here, it's plastic. It's pretty thin, I have to say, from usual badges. But hey, at least it's not paper. So I appreciate that. And very clearly on it, it says, this event, or this pass covers this event, the next one, Comic-Con Palm Springs, and also the International Film Festival. Let me grab it real quick, because it says something else on there too. It says, it has its sponsor on, this is for the Mayhem thing. It's like, Comic-Con Palm Springs presented by Agua Caliente, Spa Resort Casino, which is where Mayhem was held. And it has 2 dates. It has the Mayhem event date, and then it has CCPS's. And then you flip on the back, and, I think this is their other sponsor on here, Gilbert Avrietti, Real Estate Professionals. And on the top, it has the logo for the Palm Springs International Film Festival, and it has the logo for CCPS on there. And, I have to admit, it is a little clever. It says CCPS IAF. PS is a different font from the rest of the letters. But I'm like, okay, this is interesting, because it's CCPS, right? Comic-Con Palm Springs, and then it's PSIAF for Palm Springs International Animation Festival. So I was like, okay, that's a pretty cool, idea for the logo design. And of course, the lanyard has the lanyard on there with that logo, the CCPS May-Hem, with a local printing store, I guess, right? Canyon Print. That's where they got I'm assuming that's where they got all this stuff here. So, yeah, cool badge. Just definitely better than what I thought. And if you only got the May-Hem thing, they gave you a wristband. So yeah, there's all that happening. It's very easy to understand. As far as like what a con experience is, I think it's good for newcomers for these one-day events like this. And, yeah, again, just had a good time. Definitely looking forward to check out CCPS to see what they're going to be offering and stuff. We will definitely be there for the podcast, so be on the lookout for that. And that is all I have to say today, guys. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, comments for the podcast or anything in general, remember you can always email us at unversedpodcast@gmail.com. And you can follow us on social media at unversedpodcast anywhere you go. And as always, we will talk to you next time.
I thought we was homies for life. Me too, but I thought we was trying to get out of this bullshit. You live in a fantasy, homie.
Keeping it G ain't nothing. You ain't gotta like it cause the hood don't love it. You ain't gotta like it cause the hood don't love it. Watch a young show his ass I'm puppy. I got the whole block bumping. You ain't gotta like it cause the hood don't love it. You ain't gotta like it cause the hood don't love it. Watch a young show his ass I'm puppy.
完成したデイリー正しいはずなのにひらりひらから回る未来は一筆でわずかな亀裂からいくらでも揺れて理想からそれてゆくんだぬるま湯がずっと冷めてゆく音がしてた道を変えるのなら今なんだこんなレプリカいらない本物と呼べるものだけでいい探しに行くんだそこへでもそれをよくできた出会いでいる
Compton to Baltimore, I'ma kill it. I buy a Morgan the minute. The public house, the plastic couch of a Section 8 tenant. The Regal window is tinted. The air conditioner broke, but I'm cool enough to ensure you my ride is an Eskimo. And I peel off in the midst of getting my thrills off, and I thrive off energy from inner cities that we lost. What? I'm putting the ghetto on top of my back, and I live in the back of the jungle. Lions, tigers, bears, oh my. Hear the siren, walk up, drive by. Shooters, looters, federal fed intruders. Engines on back of scooters, the real can recognize real, and we need to know just who you are. You are in the presence of many presents. Kendrick, the gift for the future, or yeah, I said it. Thug life. 見えないものはどうしても記憶から薄れてしまう探しに行く場所さえも見失う僕たちは気づかず目を振る思い出の頼りに作ってた花はすぐ枯れた足元には
That's how I was raised. The OGs had me 13, fresh off the porch, slinging candy. But I'm wiser now, showing my young niggas there's other ways to get them dollars and funds, nigga. Coming down in an old school, so cool. Whip like a fireball, call it go cool. You don't know the tribulations that we go through. Put your ears to the speakers, I'ma show you. I paint a picture so perfect. Hit my CD, you see Mona Lisa in person. Courtesy of 100 beat. Got my Crips and essays in arm reach.
ありがとう小さな目見つけてくれたこと君はつぶやいた
I got the whole block bumping. You ain't gotta like it cause the hood don't love it. You ain't gotta like it cause the hood don't love it. Watch a young show his ass on public. Oh,
nigga, don't hate me because I'm beautiful, nigga. Maybe you got rid of that old yee ass haircut you got. You get some bitches on your dick. Oh, better yet, maybe to call your dog ass if she ever stop fucking with that brain surgeon, the lawyer she fucking with, nigga.
What?